Welcome to the show. This is Kenneth Muyingo, and with me I have a special guest, Emmanuel Tugume, and he is the author of the book Seed to the Sower, which is a practical guide to a practical financial guide for the everyday working professional.
Yes,
And
yes, yes, that's right.
and so if anybody is watching this interview and you would like to be interviewed yourself, please reach out and we can arrange an interview for you as well. And if you would like to join the author community of like-minded people who are writing books, the link will be with this interview. And with that said, I would like to get into the interview by just asking my guest to say hello to our viewers and listeners.
Yes, hello, my name is Emmanuel Tugume, born again Christian, and I should say an investment enthusiast who is also a minister of the gospel. So what I've been trying to do in this book is merge two worlds into one.
Yeah.
So that I come up with a message that is balanced, both in the kingdom of God aspects and also the investment world aspect. Yes, so
wow,
that is what the book is about. Yes,
quite a profile. Thank you so much for making
yes.
time for the interview, Emmanuel.
You're welcome.
And it's a pleasure to speak with you today. So tell us about this book, Seed to the Sower. What inspired you to write the book?
Seed to the Sower is, as we prayed about the challenges that we face as a church.
Yeah.
Is I find that a lot of us, we found that a lot of us earn income, and yet we are not able to move away from the certain cycle.
Yeah.
Where we earn everything.
Yeah.
And we spend everything. So
yeah.
that's it's a challenge that we have seen amongst some of our colleagues and our people.
Yeah.
And so the idea is, how can we turn around a situation where people are used to, ideally, of course, they say the expenses are higher than their incomes.
Yeah.
So they are not always able to save.
Yeah.
And therefore not able to invest. So Seed to the Sower, we recognize that every income that comes in, it is both seed to sow and also food to eat. So
yeah.
If you take everything as food to eat, you spend everything.
Yeah.
If you take everything as a seed to be sown, you starve. So where is the balance?
Yeah.
And so we came up with this book to first and foremost lay the foundation of finances from a kingdom of God perspective.
Yeah.
Then along the way, we wanted to say, okay, having laid the foundation, I mean, we talk about things like tithe, generosity, those background things that you think you should do. Ideally, people who are not saving, they're also not returning tithe. And they are not generous at the end of the day. So you find they have this feeling that it's not enough. It's not enough. Whatever they have is not enough. So the book is trying to change a mind shift of sorts. A mind shift to say, even if you have 1,000, even if you have $1,000, you in that $1,000 you have a certain percentage that is for sowing, a certain percentage that is for tithing, certain percentage that is for blessing others, you know. So the debate is, it is never about the amount, but the principles. Principles. So that's basically what the book is about.
Amazing. Seed to the Sower. Do you have a copy of the book with you there?
I do have a copy here.
Can we see it? There it is.
I don't know whether you can see it clearly.
There's a bit of
We
light. If
should
you can
have
put
the
it down a
copy
bit.
on
Right
like
there.
this.
Yes, there it is. Seed to the
Yes.
Sower. Very beautiful.
Yes, this is the book. Yes,
Thank you so
the
much.
back is
Yeah.
yeah. So very soon we should have it on Amazon for you guys who we can't reach quickly
Yeah.
with a hard copy, but
Yeah.
very soon it should be there up and running, and you
Very
can
nice.
click and get yourself a copy. Yes.
Most definitely. It's
Yes.
this sounds like a very timely book, looking at the season.
Mm.
And from what you shared, that you got this idea or this vision from what you observed in your church. But
Yes. Yes.
from the conversations I have with people all over the world, this is the
Yes.
same story that almost most, like 95% of people are going through. They,
Mm.
they are going around telling that same story. So I think this message is really timely. And maybe if we can just look at your journey that brings you to finally give the world seed to the sower. I mean, yes, I've understood what inspired you, but were you always a writer? When did you start writing? When does the idea come and you are clear and sure that this book is going to be written?
I think maybe a year, 2 years before here in Uganda we had the lockdown.
Yeah.
About a year and a half ago, and slightly before that, from my other classes of investment.
Yeah.
I think I was preparing to sit a CFA exam.
Yeah.
And you do a lot of interest and compounding interest, etc.
Yeah.
So for me, both as a practitioner who does investments outside this work of ministry, I find that there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity for people to get in, save money, and get a good return.
Yeah.
A good return that is both enough for retirement or even to fulfill dreams.
Yeah.
But along the way, we realize that it's information that people don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's information that people do. It sounds as if people know it, but people don't know it. So
Exactly.
we thought that if we come up with a book, we will be able to show that yes, this book is not about money alone, because we write. When I say we lay the background, we want to show that you are a steward of God's finances.
Yeah.
We want to show that you have a purpose. So finances should be the vehicle that take you to your purpose.
Yeah.
And so in our context, we find that many people, money is the end game. They are looking at the money as the end point. So we discuss a lot about purpose, and so we felt it necessary to say that actually, even if you are not rich, but along the journey of your chasing your purpose and striving in your purpose, in your calling, you can put aside a percentage of your income that will make sure that at the end of the road you're not broke. You can actually be purposeful and still be broke.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you have a balance.
Yeah.
So we felt it necessary to merge all those ideas into a book that flows, that you can read from the start and slowly lead you to now the practical strategies of how you are going to save this money and invest it and get a return. And so we felt it necessary to tackle all those subjects in one place.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's how we came to the book. The idea basically was, can you share this knowledge? Can you put it together and share this knowledge that seems obvious, but yet is not obvious?
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Wow, very well said. I like what you mentioned about the fact that most people don't know this, but they actually think that they know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's what causes the biggest problem. And so thank you so much for actually being willing to uh, put this out there, to just make sure that this message goes to the people that need it. And you also mentioned about uh, finances or money being an end goal for most people. Rather, from what I'm understanding, from what you're sharing, is that money is just a tool that is supposed
Yes,
to be
yes.
used and not the goal. Do I get you right?
Yes, absolutely. There's a scripture in Ephesians that says that we walk in the works that are prepared for us. So
Yeah.
for us, we think discovering your purpose is a big component for your fulfillment, living a fulfilled life. So we want you to discover that purpose
Yeah.
and to go after it. And so all this money that you are getting and earning, whichever way you are getting it, is to push you towards that goal,
Yeah.
towards that purpose. Now, for some who have not yet reached that point
Yeah.
of saying, you know what, I'm here for this thing,
Yeah.
then money now becomes the end point. They are looking, and normally, of course, it is about getting rich, driving big cars, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yet, if you dig deeper, you find that I have a cause, so this money should be going towards this cause. And
Yeah.
and we all have also discussed a lot about that, so that at the end of the day, people can
Yeah.
reflect. Why am I here? Why, if you are rich or maybe not yet rich, why do I have this money?
Yeah.
And that should refocus your mind somehow.
Wow.
Yes,
Amazing. Now, I think we're going to take this deeper. You mentioned about this aspect of purpose. And
yes, yes.
if somebody is watching us and they feel they are in this place of they're asking themselves that question, and wherever they are looking, they just can't seem to get the answer. What can you share with them, knowing what you know, for them to start to discover their purpose?
To discover purpose, you have to first and foremost be a bit honest with yourself. Find that space where you can listen to yourself,
Yeah.
because I think God speaks to us in a calmer way, in a calm, a small spirit.
Yeah.
You're going to, you have many, even if you have 6 interests that you are pursuing, there is always that interest that you feel if they took away this interest from my life, I would not be fulfilled. So
Yeah.
I think it calls for a deeperness of self, and once you have an inkling or a direction that it is this, then
Yeah.
the courage to pursue it. Because a lot of us, the courage is not there. You think God is calling you to do this, but the faith to go after it is not there. So it calls for you listen to yourself deeply, and you also, because you know, without faith you can't do much. You can't do much. So you want to put your faith behind that thing that you think you are, and give it a try, because you'll never know. If you don't go
Yeah.
after it, you never know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, I think at first you might have a number of interests, and the deeper you listen, or if you use elimination method, you can eliminate this and think, okay, how am I faring? But there are those things that you think, if they took them away from you, maybe
Yeah.
your life wouldn't matter even to
Yeah.
you. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm,
Brilliant. Wow.
yes, yes.
Very, very good advice. Thank you so much.
You're
Um,
welcome.
so the journey that you have been on, you mentioned you are a Christian, a preacher of the gospel. You are an
Yes, please.
investor.
Mm,
And I'm listening to you and I'm like, this is a full life. It's like just exciting. But when I look at many people that I know who are doing similar things, when they think about writing a book, for example, they feel like, I don't know where I can factor that into my life. I don't know where I can start from. So if you look at your own life journey, what would you say is the one thing that you could look to and point and say, this is the thing that inspired me to go on this journey that has finally given the world seed to the sower?
I hope I get you well, but I think personally, it's a journey. It's a journey, and so I cannot say I have arrived, or it's a journey. Life to me is a journey.
Yeah.
Secondly, good enough for me. I'm not a perfectionist, so back in school, if you had 80%, that would be good enough. So I think a lot of us, you do a work like this, you reach around 70%, 75%. Every time I read through, the book wasn't good enough. Every time. Every time I gave it to someone to review it, and I got comments. But I think I got counsel from someone who was like, you know what, me, I've read through your work. The thing is good. You can share this with the world. And if there's a need to have a second edition or third edition, you can have a second edition. Other than sitting on it and saying it's not ready, it's not, and until, because you wake up and you just delete it. I've ever deleted the whole book because every time I read through it, I feel like this is not complete. This is not good enough. So I think creating those, if you can give yourself the freedom to just create, and maybe share with your friends. You, out of maybe 6 or 7 people, 4 of them might say, "But this is good work." It might not be 100% the way you want it to be, but if you can, someone who reads it will pick something, and you never know how it changes their life. So for me, I must admit that the lockdown helped me a bit because we were locked up. You didn't know whether we were going back to work or not. But you were just, so then how do I use that time? I could maybe catch a few movies. But I had God say, you know what? You have always had this idea that really, if someone puts aside 10% of their income over maybe a period of time, and they get compound interest and all this, they could come up with something. Why don't you sit down and put these thoughts together, and you see what comes out of that. So we want to, me personally, I want to credit the Holy Spirit to be on my case, to be like, that idea you had, put it down, yeah. Because if you don't type it out, even the ideas will go, and yet as you start to write, God starts to also reveal other things, and before you know it, you have a product. Yes.
Wow, amazing. Thank you. And if we could just go a bit deeper into seed to the sower. So if there is a professional listening to us, and they always feel like, I always have more month at the end of my money. Yeah.
Yes.
What can you share with knowing what you know? Without giving too much away.
With the Christian perspective is that all that we have, we are stewards. That one I must emphasize it, because if you don't have that perspective, you will not think about other people or the church or the government. You just be looking at yourself and your household. And I think that is dangerous, because it is only when you start to look outside your gate, outside your fence, that your mind opens up. So for us Christians, we think God makes us a steward for His own purposes. So then we emphasize that be generous on top of returning the tithe. The tithe that we return is what God has put in our purse for His purposes.
Yeah.
Like someone can give you $1,000, but say that the 100 in that 1,000 is for my purposes. But strictly going to the professional that is really thinks they have less money than they ought to have. You have, maybe you're earning that $2,000 and your expenses are 2,500. The idea is you must pay yourself first. If I earn $2,500 and by end of the month I've spent $2,500, it means I've not worked.
Yeah.
Because if you use the company, you see with the company financials, you have income, then expenses, and then the net income. So if you spend everything, you have zero net income. So also for you as a person, if you earn $1,000 and you use that in your monthly expenses, at the end of the month you have nothing, which means you have basically not earned money. So pay yourself first means that when the money comes in, you're going to get off that 10%.
Yeah.
And own it. Say, this is my 10%. This is, or everything is spent, everything has gone. This is my 10%. And so you are looking to put it somewhere safe. And in that safe place, it can also earn some interest, or a professional money manager can manage it for you. But it is your money. You are not keeping, okay, you might say, I'm keeping it for my children or whatever, but the idea is that money that you're able to save at the end of the period is your real income.
Yeah.
So if you claim to say, my expenses are high, let me spend everything, well, at the end of the month, or indeed at the end of the year, you have nothing, which means your effort has gone to, not to waste, but there's nothing to show.
Yeah.
There's nothing to show. And so if you admire someone who has a good property, how do you think you will go from where you are to owning that property? Because at the end of the day, you have zero balance.
Yeah.
But if you can discipline yourself to say, you know what, $1,000 have come in, let me take off 100 and secure it.
Yeah.
And you secure it, then that builds over time.
Yeah.
To the thing that you really want to achieve. So for me, I think what I would tell this profession is that yes, there are many months on the money, the way you say it, but pay yourself first.
Yeah. Pay yourself first. That's a very good principle in it. So you mentioned the tithe, 10%, and then you go into paying yourself first. How much do I pay myself first, if they may ask this? Because they know, like you mentioned, for example, the example of $1,000, and you mentioned the $100 is tithe. And how much do they pay themselves?
Personally, I advise 10%.
Yeah.
Because if you're giving a tithe of 10%, the next 10% is your tithe, is your saving, and even after that, you should also have another 10% that because there are these other issues.
Yeah.
Like if you have parents, for example.
Yeah.
They are going to call you that your parent is sick, or they need this support, or your friend has a wedding, and so the challenge that we normally have is that you say these ones are not budget for them.
Yeah.
Yet you know that at the end of the day you must look for this money.
Yeah.
You must look for that money, because if your friend is wedding, there's no way you're going to say I don't have money. You will tell yourself I will find money somehow. And then you find that it is not a good practice in budgeting, and so for me, I say you take off the tithe, take off your 10%, and take off that 10% in whatever proportions. Make sure your parents are catered for. Don't wait for them to call you back and say, you know what, we don't have this. Then maybe 5%. Keep it in a safe place, because you know your friend will call. So for me, your real income now is 70% of your actual income.
Yeah.
Then you start now to look at, because if you are if you are maybe renting and your rent is above 35%, then now it means either you are living above you are hitting above your weight a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also it also depends on your income, because if your income is slightly high,
yeah,
you find that you actually don't need the 70%.
Yeah.
To spend all of it. So, but so for those who are a bit starting off, you can put the 70% as your true income now, and you start to budget within 70%. But if you are earning comfortably and you think you can even survive within less than 70%, then you can put this money into this other saving account.
Yeah.
Because the reality also about us is that as we grow older, our energy is reduced, etc.
Yeah.
So there's a time coming that we will not be able to earn. Either you have retired, or so now we bring the aspect of retirement planning. So it's not only about putting out aside some money. It is also looking ahead and saying, I have a time in the future that I might not be able to do what I am able to do now.
Yeah.
So in a way, you are trying to convert your energy now into that lump sum that you will be able to either spend or something like that. Yeah.
Wow. This is very, very practical and sound financial plan.
Mm-hmm.
So if let me see if I got you right. So you earn, for example, $1,000.
Yes.
And fasting off is the tithe, 10%.
The tithe, yes, yeah.
That's $100. And then you pay yourself first. That's $100.
$100.
10%.
Yes.
And then just for the purpose of being generous, another 10%.
Yes.
Or maybe other friends, family, loved ones, emergencies. And then you leave off of 70%.
Yes.
And this becomes your the money from which you pay your expenses. And
absolutely,
this is really good. This is really good. And I think this message does not belong in the church alone. The world, the world needs this now more than ever, because there's people who are just like I mentioned with the issue of finances, because if the money issue is not taken care of in even a family, there's a lot of disagreements, there's a lot of fights, uncertainty, insecurity. And just have something interesting here to ask. If somebody is watching us and they feel like, yeah, if I try to do this, to follow this plan of living within my expense of 70%, or to do all my monthly expenses within a 70% budget, and they feel like that's really tricky because I have to show face, to keep up appearances, to I wouldn't want people to think that I'm struggling or I'm suffocating myself, for lack of a better word. What can you share with them, knowing what you know?
The you only live once gang, you know. They want to live now, and the future will take care of itself. It's they have to know that they are doing that at the expense of their future, because there is something we call, in this book we discuss financial independence. Financial independence, because as you do all this, you want to have a goal in mind. You want to have a goal. So normally what we do is ask people, what can you do, what can you do or build that can bring in the income you are earning from your job, from your own personal investments. Because that one sets the challenge gives you the challenge square. You have to ask yourself, I'm earning $1,000 from this company. What does it take for me to earn $1,000 from maybe real estate?
Yeah.
Or from treasury bills or whatever you are trying to invest in? What does it take? Because once you look at those numbers, you find that you have a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah.
So the moment you realize that I have a lot of ground to cover, then it should lead you to refocus your mind.
Yeah.
You appreciate that, and then you still want to keep up appearances, then that's on you.
Yeah.
It's not that you didn't get the information, but it is on you that you. And we are not saying that you are perfect or the situations won't come.
Yeah.
But it's important to say that at least this is what I'm aiming to do.
Yeah.
I'm putting aside $100, and maybe in a year it will be 1,200, and maybe in 10 years it will be this with compound interest. And from that, I can maybe buy a condo or something that can bring in income for me, either now or in the future. So if you ignore that, for us, like we do while we preach, we bring the message to you.
Yeah.
We try to explain it to you.
Yeah.
We make sure you have understood it. Now, the decision point is yours, because at the end of the day, it is your decisions that matter, not ours. But at least we want you to get the information, understand it, and then we leave you at the point of making the decision.
Indeed.
So that's what, for me, I think. You can't say uh, you can't say, let me just spend everything and then hope that tomorrow will come and you will have nothing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. This is very practical advice. This is very practical advice. And so you mentioned that the book, that the lockdown was very helpful in for you to be able to finally give the wild seed to the sower. How long did it take you from when you started writing to when you finished the book, the first draft?
I think no, the very first draft, it was like 2 days of non-stop putting. But I think if I say a complete draft, it should have been around 7 months, I think.
Wow.
7 months, because as you read, as you say, the ideas keep coming. Maybe you should include this topic. Maybe you should recast it this way. So by the time we were through, I think it was something that we could arrange, and something was like a year and a half. Yes.
Indeed. Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing indeed. Well, thank you for being willing to be obedient, for lack of a better word, to give the world this very practical principle in a very timely season. Because looking at where we are right now as the human race, and what we're coming up against post-COVID, it's going to take unique human resources that are within us for us to rise above and to do the things that we have been called to do in this season. And I think you're doing that very powerfully. Thank you very much. So if somebody's watching this and they would like to get a copy of Seed to the Sower, where can they get a copy if somebody wants to, and maybe they're not able to get it now, or maybe in the near future they are able to get it from somewhere? Can you share that information?
Yeah, thank you. We have a link of the title, actually, www.seedtothesower.org.
Yeah.
Seedtothesower.org. But we will soon, and soon I mean in a few days, have the Amazon Kindle version, which we hope that beyond our borders here, people will be able to purchase better, faster, read faster. But if you are in East Africa, you can go to that site, www.seedtothesower.org, and pay, and we can either give you an e-version or a hard copy. We can arrange for delivery. Yes.
Very nice indeed.
Yes,
We will
yes.
put the link with interviews so that people can access the website, and also the links for Amazon. Whenever they will be ready, we'll put them with the interviews so that people can access the book. And
Yes, yes.
the things that you have shared, Emmanuel, are very practical, and they're very applicable in a sense. But if somebody is watching this and they feel like, I would like to continue this conversation with Emmanuel, what's the best way for them to reach you?
I am on all social medias.
Yeah.
I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook as Tugume7.
Yeah.
For all of them. And on Gmail at itugume7@gmail.com. And but normally those who purchase the book normally get a link to. We send them links to our future engagements, because this book is the beginning. We want to draw people in, and we have discussion forums. We have some of the tables in the books somewhere you can download and punch in your real income and see what we are talking about, what it looks like. So once someone purchases the book, normally that is the beginning of our relationship.
Very nice.
So I would really encourage people to go there and get in touch with us. Yes.
Very nice indeed. And so we'll put the social media links with the interview as well, so that people can access them and to stay connected with you. And are you working on any other books right now?
I am working on a book, though it is still in its initial stages, but I have a title in mind called "Thy Kingdom Come."
Yeah.
It is a governance book.
Yeah.
Because we seem to be, as I don't know whether it's Africans or it's the world, we seem to be in a leadership quagmire.
Yeah.
So as I thought through these things, I said, when God created the world, what is the leadership model He would have loved to see?
Yeah.
What order? So it is basically a governance book. I think it is written. We will be writing it for corporations, and the governments, and people who are called into leadership, basically. So the heart of God towards humanity. How would He have loved the world to move? Because the world has waited for a time when there is no war, and we have not seen it yet. So what do we think God had in plan as governance? How do you want His people to be governed, etc.? So that's the work I'm currently working on.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having a complete draft. Yes.
Amazing, amazing. Godspeed, go for it. This is again another timely one. And, and it's not just Africa, I can tell you. A leadership quagmire it's all over the world. There is a leadership gap. I mean, I'm looking forward to reading this one, Emmanuel. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
The way I like to end all my interviews is by asking, is there a question that you wished I would have asked you, but I didn't? What would that be?
It's the first interview. I'm not also good at. I haven't had many of them, so I wouldn't be able to say. But the question I would instead want to ask is if you are that person who is earning and spending everything, how do you hope to turn around that situation?
Yeah.
because for us, our book, we are saying it is to answer if you are playing a losing game, how do you turn around a losing game? And we are trying to answer that this is the answer to turning around that financial losing game.
Yeah.
We could dig deeper into, many people are apprehensive about the topic of tithe and tithing.
Yeah.
And I was a bit careful in this book. I didn't want us to go so deep, because then my book would be about tithe and not the point I'm trying to deliver.
Yeah.
But precisely, it is important to, this one is for the Christian, to tithe, because we have the promises that God has given us. We know that Jesus established his church, and the principal income of his church to carry out his mandate.
Yeah.
Principal income is tithe and offering.
Yeah.
And so we ought to be generous towards that home church that we belong to, because at the end of the day, the plans that God has for this world, financed, yes, supernaturally, but by the finances that he gives us to deliver through. I don't foresee God bringing hard money into our church. He will give it to me to take it there, and then so if he gives it to me and I chew all of it, and my neighbor gets that blessing and takes all of it, then that means the church won't move.
Yeah.
And what happens when the church doesn't move? We can see we start to see evil.
Yeah.
Start to see evil taking over. You can and some other I don't want to call them religions or beliefs.
Yeah.
But you see that in a vacuum where the gospel is not reaching, you can see evidence of evil. You can see evidence of confusion. So we must partner with God in achieving his agenda, and we all believe that a godly agenda is a good one. So then how will it be achieved if we don't do our part? Because God does his part.
Yeah.
There's I think it is something they say for fun, where they say if God don't want, some people don't want to take 10% because they think it is too big. So then maybe they should pray that God reduces their income, so that the 10% isn't so big, then they can give it comfortably. But if you pray for $1 million, then be comfortable to give away $100,000.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. A godly agenda is a good one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. This was very inspiring and very educational.
Thank you too for hosting me.
You're welcome.
And I should send you a copy of the hard copy. I want you to have the hard copy book.
Yes.
And I'll also wire you the e-copy, just to be reading in the meantime as the hard copy reaches you.
Very nice. I have a wonderful place for it on my bookshelf.
I can see that it's a wonderful, it's well stocked.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I would really love to get a copy of this book, because I think the principle that you are sharing is very practical and very much timely for our season and for our generation also.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, and I will be keeping in touch with you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.